Listen carefully. Every morning is not just the start of a new day. It is the beginning of a spiritual battle. When you wake up, the invisible realm is already active. Forces are already in motion. Decisions are already being influenced. And if you step into the day without prayer, you step into warfare unarmed. Dangerous morning prayers are not emotional words. They are spiritual commands released with authority, faith, and divine consciousness. When you pray dangerously, you don't beg, you declare. You don't complain, you command. You don't fear, you enforce the victory that has already been given to you. Spiritual awareness is the deep understanding that every morning is not just the beginning of a new day, but the continuation of an invisible battle that never sleeps. When you open your eyes, the spiritual realm is already active. Forces are already in motion. Decisions are already being influenced. And destinies are already being contested. To be spiritually aware means to recognize that life is not only physical, it is deeply spiritual. Many people walk into their day thinking only about schedules, tasks, and responsibilities. But those who understand spiritual awareness know that behind every visible event, there is an invisible cause. When you wake up without prayer, you step into a battlefield without armor, without strategy, and without covering. Spiritual awareness sharpens your perception. It allows you to see beyond appearances and understand that not every battle is fought with hands, and not every victory is achieved by effort alone. Some victories are secured in the place of prayer before the day even begins. When you pray in the morning, you are not being religious, you are being strategic. You are aligning your spirit with divine order, positioning yourself to walk in wisdom, clarity, and authority. A spiritually aware person does not wait for problems to arise before praying. They pray ahead because they understand that prevention is better than cure and preparation is better than panic. Without spiritual awareness, people become victims of circumstances. They react emotionally, make rush decisions, and fall into traps they could have avoided. But when you are spiritually aware, you move with discernment. You sense danger before it becomes visible. You receive direction before confusion appears. You gain strength before weakness sets in. Prayer in the morning activates this awareness. It awakens your spirit, sharpens your sensitivity, and tunes your heart to divine signals. This is why dangerous morning prayers are so powerful. They turn ordinary people into spiritually alert warriors. Spiritual awareness also helps you understand timing. There are moments when silence is wisdom and moments when bold action is required. There are days when patience will save you and days when courage will advance you. Through prayer, your spirit becomes trained to recognize these seasons. You stop moving blindly and you begin to move intentionally. Every step becomes guided. Every decision becomes inspired. Every action becomes purposeful. This level of awareness does not come from books alone. It is built through consistent communion with God, especially in the quiet hours of the morning. Many people underestimate the power of the early hours. The morning is a gate. Whoever controls the gate controls the flow of the day. When you wake up and immediately connect spiritually, you take charge of that gate. You establish divine order before chaos can enter. You release peace before stress can rise. You declare victory before battles can form. This is why spiritually aware people don't start their day with noise, distractions, or social media. They start with prayer, meditation, and alignment. They know that what fills their spirit in the morning shapes their attitude, their reactions, and their outcomes throughout the day. Spiritual awareness also builds resilience. Life will test you. Challenges will come. Unexpected situations will arise. But when your spirit is alert, you are not easily shaken. You remain calm in pressure, focused in confusion, and strong in adversity. Prayer strengthens your inner man. It reminds you that you are not alone, that you are backed by divine power, and that no situation is beyond redemption. This confidence does not come from pride. It comes from deep spiritual connection. Furthermore, spiritual awareness creates discipline. It trains you to prioritize what truly matters. Instead of living carelessly, you become intentional. You understand that your time, energy, and focus are valuable. You guard them wisely. You avoid unnecessary conflicts, destructive habits, and toxic environments because your spirit is sensitive. You no longer live on impulse, you live by insight. This is the fruit of consistent morning prayer. A spiritually aware person understands that destiny is not accidental. Every great future is built on daily spiritual investment. The small moments of prayer, reflection, and surrender compound into powerful transformation. Over time, you begin to notice clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was anxiety, and progress where there was stagnation. Your life becomes a testimony of divine guidance. In the end, spiritual awareness is what separates survivors from conquerors. Survivors react to life. Conquerors shape it. Survivors wait for opportunities. Conquerors create them through prayer. Survivors fear the unknown. Conquerors face it with faith. When you cultivate spiritual awareness through dangerous morning prayers, you move from being a victim of circumstances to a commander of outcomes. You step into each day equipped, enlightened, and empowered, ready to walk in victory, purpose, and divine alignment. Authority in Christ is the deep revelation that you were not created to live in fear, defeat, or limitation, but to walk in dominion, confidence, and victory. It is the understanding that spiritual power has been entrusted to you, not so you can beg helplessly, but so you can stand boldly and command circumstances to align with divine purpose. Many people approach prayer from a place of weakness, thinking they are powerless and small. But true spiritual authority begins when you realize that you carry heaven's backing. When you pray, you are not speaking empty words. You are releasing divine commands that shape realities. To understand authority, you must first understand identity. You cannot walk in authority if you do not know who you are. The moment you discover your true spiritual identity, fear begins to lose its grip. Insecurity begins to fade and hesitation begins to disappear. Authority flows from identity, and identity is rooted in spiritual alignment. When you know who you are, you stop tolerating what you were never meant to endure. You stop accepting defeat as normal. You stop calling weakness humility. Instead, you rise with boldness, clarity, and confidence, knowing that you have been empowered to stand firm and enforce victory. Authority in Christ does not mean arrogance or pride. It is not about shouting loud or displaying external confidence. True authority is calm, firm, and unshakable. It is a deep inner assurance that no matter what happens around you, you are standing on unmovable ground. When storms rise, you don't panic. When challenges appear, you don't retreat. When opposition confronts you, you don't crumble. You stand your ground because you know that the power behind you is greater than the pressure before you. When you pray with authority, your language changes. You stop saying, I hope, and begin to declare, I know. You stop saying, maybe, and begin to speak, it is done. You stop asking in fear and begin to decree in faith. Authority gives way to your words. It transforms your prayers from weak requests into powerful declarations. This is why dangerous morning prayers are not casual conversations. They are moments of spiritual enforcement. In those moments, you take your position and declare what must change, what must align, and what must submit to divine order. Authority also requires responsibility. You cannot walk in power if you live carelessly. Spiritual authority is sustained by discipline, obedience, and consistency. A life that lacks spiritual structure cannot carry spiritual weight. Authority is built in private before it is revealed in public. It is formed in moments of prayer, reflection, and surrender. Every time you choose prayer over distraction, discipline over comfort, and obedience over convenience, your authority grows. Over time, your spirit becomes strong, stable, and sensitive, able to discern, decide, and declare with precision. Many people struggle in life not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack authority. They allow fear to dictate their actions. They allow doubt to silence their voice. They allow pressure to control their decisions. But when you understand spiritual authority, you refuse to be dominated by emotions, circumstances, or opinions. You become anchored in truth. You begin to act from conviction, not confusion. You start leading your life instead of reacting to it. Authority also brings clarity. When you know you have spiritual power, you stop living in constant uncertainty. You begin to trust the process, even when you don't understand it fully. You learn to rest in assurance, knowing that every step is guided. This inner peace is one of the greatest fruits of authority. It keeps your heart steady in unstable seasons. It gives you strength to endure delays, wisdom to navigate changes, and courage to face challenges head on. Furthermore, authority empowers you to influence others positively. Your presence becomes impactful. Your words carry weight. Your prayers bring results. People begin to sense stability, peace, and strength around you. Not because you are perfect, but because you are aligned. Authority transforms you into a carrier of hope, a voice of encouragement, and a source of inspiration. Your life becomes a living message of courage and faith. In moments of adversity, authority is what keeps you standing. When everything around you seems uncertain, it is authority that reminds you of what is unchangeable. It tells you that setbacks are temporary, that challenges are not final, and that victory is inevitable. It shifts your focus from fear to faith, from problems to purpose, from struggle to strength. In the end, authority in Christ is the foundation of fearless living. It is the key that unlocks bold prayers, decisive actions, and victorious outcomes. When you wake up each morning and step into prayer with this authority, you don't approach the day as a victim hoping to survive. You step forward as a warrior prepared to conquer. You command peace. You declare strength. You enforce purpose. And as you move, life begins to respond, because authority, when exercised in faith, never returns empty. Consistency in prayer is the discipline of showing up every day, regardless of mood, circumstances, or results, because you understand that spiritual growth and breakthrough are built through faithful persistence, not emotional excitement. Many people pray only when they are in trouble, confused, or desperate. But consistent prayer is what transforms prayer from a temporary reaction into a powerful lifestyle. When prayer becomes a lifestyle, it stops being a last resort and becomes the first foundation. This is where true spiritual strength is built, because consistency trains your spirit to remain connected, sensitive, and aligned at all times. Breakthrough is not usually released in one dramatic moment. More often, it is the result of accumulated obedience, discipline, and faith. Each time you pray, even when nothing seems to change, something is happening in the unseen realm. Seeds are being planted, resistance is being weakened, pathways are being prepared, doors are being positioned. But many people quit too early because they expect instant results. They mistake delay for denial and silence for absence. Consistent prayer teaches patience, trust, and endurance. It builds the ability to stand firm even when progress is slow. When prayer becomes consistent, your spiritual sensitivity increases. You begin to notice subtle shifts, gentle promptings, and quiet instructions that you would normally miss. Your heart becomes more attentive. Your mind becomes calmer. Your emotions become steadier. Over time, prayer reshapes your inner world. Fear loses its grip. Anxiety loses its control. Doubt loses its influence. Confidence begins to rise. Not because life becomes perfect, but because your spirit becomes anchored. This is one of the greatest fruits of consistency. Consistency also develops spiritual stamina. Just like physical muscles grow through repeated exercise, spiritual strength grows through repeated prayer. At first, it may feel difficult. Your mind may wander. Your body may resist. Your schedule may feel crowded. But the more you persist, the easier it becomes. Prayer begins to flow naturally. Hunger increases. Desire deepens. What once felt like discipline becomes delight. And in that place, your connection becomes stronger, deeper, and more intimate. A consistent prayer life also builds spiritual authority. Authority is not given casually. It is developed through faithfulness. When you show up in prayer daily, you demonstrate commitment, hunger, and obedience. This positions you to carry spiritual weight. Over time, your words carry greater impact. Your declarations carry greater power. Your presence carries greater influence. This is because spiritual consistency attracts divine trust. When you are faithful in small moments, greater responsibility and greater grace are released. Many people struggle with instability because their spiritual lives are unstable. They pray intensely for a few days, then disappear for weeks. They seek God passionately during crises, then neglect prayer during calm seasons. But spiritual maturity is revealed in consistency, not intensity. It is easy to pray when life is hard. It takes discipline to pray when life is calm. Yet, it is in those calm seasons that foundations are built for future storms. Consistent prayer prepares you ahead of time. So when challenges come, you are not shaken, confused, or defeated. Consistency also protects you from spiritual drift. Without regular prayer, it is easy to become distracted, careless, and disconnected. Little compromises begin to grow. Small distractions begin to multiply. Gradually, spiritual sharpness is lost. But daily prayer keeps your heart aligned. It recalibrates your focus. It renews your perspective. It reminds you of your purpose and direction. It keeps your spirit awake and your conscience sensitive. Another powerful effect of consistent prayer is emotional healing. Life can wound the heart through disappointment, betrayal, failure, and loss. If these wounds are not addressed, they become heavy burdens. But consistent prayer creates a safe space where healing takes place. In prayer, burdens are released, tears are understood, pain is transformed, strength is restored. Over time, the heart becomes lighter, freer, and stronger. This emotional stability becomes a powerful foundation for confidence, courage, and clarity. Consistency in prayer also strengthens faith. Faith grows when you repeatedly choose to trust, even when outcomes are uncertain. Each day you pray, you are declaring that you believe in divine intervention, guidance, and timing. This repeated act of trust strengthens your spiritual muscles. Gradually, fear begins to fade. Doubt begins to shrink. Courage begins to rise. You become more confident in your prayers, your decisions, and your steps. Furthermore, consistent prayer aligns you with purpose. Many people feel lost, confused, or uncertain about their future. But through steady communion, direction becomes clearer. Vision becomes sharper. Purpose becomes stronger. You begin to understand what truly matters and what does not. You learn to prioritize correctly. You become intentional about your choices. This clarity saves you from unnecessary struggles and wasted years. In the end, consistency in prayer is what transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary testimonies. It is the quiet discipline that produces visible glory. It is the hidden sacrifice that releases public victory. When prayer becomes your lifestyle, not your occasional activity, your life begins to reflect stability, strength, wisdom, and power. And day by day, step by step, breakthrough becomes inevitable because consistency always attracts divine response. Alignment with purpose is the conscious decision to bring your life, desires, actions, and direction into harmony with divine intention. It is the understanding that you were not created by accident, nor are you living randomly. There is a reason you exist, a calling attached to your breath, and a destiny connected to your journey. Morning prayer is one of the most powerful tools for realigning your spirit with that purpose. Because life has a way of pulling people off course through distractions, pressures, and expectations. Without regular spiritual alignment, it is easy to drift, to lose focus, and to invest energy in things that do not truly matter. Every day presents choices, and every choice moves you either closer to or further away from purpose. When you begin your morning in prayer, you pause long enough to listen, reflect, and recalibrate. You give your spirit time to breathe, to reset, and to reconnect. In that space, clarity begins to rise. Confusion starts to fade. Direction becomes sharper. You are reminded of who you are, why you are here, and what truly deserves your attention. This alignment protects you from living a busy but empty life, full of activity but lacking fulfillment. Many people are exhausted not because they are doing too much, but because they are doing too much of what they were never meant to do. Misalignment drains energy. It creates frustration, dissatisfaction, and restlessness. But when you are aligned with purpose, even hard work feels meaningful. Even challenges feel worthwhile. Even delays feel instructive. There is a deep sense of peace that comes from knowing you are walking in the right direction, even if the journey is not easy. Morning prayer is powerful because it allows you to surrender your plans before the day begins. Instead of forcing your will, you invite divine guidance. You acknowledge that your understanding is limited and that higher wisdom is available. In that surrender, alignment takes place. Your desires begin to shift. Your priorities begin to change. You start valuing growth over comfort, impact over popularity, and purpose over pleasure. This transformation does not happen overnight, but through daily communion, your heart gradually becomes tuned to what truly matters. Alignment with purpose also brings focus. In a world full of noise, comparison, and constant stimulation, it is easy to become scattered. You start many things but finish few. You chase trends instead of destiny. But when your spirit is aligned, focus becomes natural. You gain clarity about what deserves your time and what does not. You become selective. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes to what aligns with your calling. This focus multiplies effectiveness, productivity, and impact. Another powerful result of alignment is inner peace. Many people carry anxiety because they are living disconnected from their true purpose. Their spirit senses the misalignment, even if their mind ignores it. But when you align with purpose, peace settles within. You stop competing unnecessarily. You stop comparing constantly. You stop striving endlessly. You begin to rest in confidence, knowing that your journey is unique and your timing is intentional. This peace does not mean the absence of challenges, but the presence of assurance. Alignment also strengthens decision making. When you are clear about your purpose, choices become easier. You evaluate opportunities not just by their benefits, but by their alignment. You ask yourself whether something will move you closer to your calling or pull you further away. This wisdom protects you from costly mistakes and unnecessary detours. It helps you invest your energy wisely and build a future with intention. Furthermore, alignment with purpose builds resilience. When you know why you are doing something, you can endure almost anything. Purpose gives pain meaning. It gives struggle direction. It gives sacrifice value. In difficult seasons, purpose becomes your anchor. It reminds you that the process is shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you. Without purpose, hardship feels pointless. With purpose, hardship becomes a stepping stone. Morning prayer keeps this alignment fresh. It acts like a compass, constantly pointing you back to true north. Even when you make mistakes or take wrong turns, prayer brings correction without condemnation. It gently guides you back on track. It renews hope. It restores vision. It reminds you that every day is another opportunity to realign and begin again. Alignment with purpose also releases fulfillment. Success without purpose is empty. Achievement without alignment is hollow. But when your life reflects your calling, there is a deep satisfaction that cannot be explained by external rewards. You wake up with meaning. You walk with passion. You rest with peace. This fulfillment becomes a source of strength, motivation, and joy. In the end, alignment with purpose is about living intentionally, not accidentally. It is about walking with clarity, not confusion. It is about choosing depth over distraction and destiny over delay. Through consistent morning prayer, your spirit is continually recalibrated. Your vision is continually sharpened and your path is continually illuminated. And as you walk in alignment, your life begins to unfold with meaning, direction, and lasting impact. Fearless faith is the unwavering confidence to move forward, speak boldly, and act decisively, even when circumstances appear impossible. It is the deep trust that what God has promised will come to pass, regardless of how situations look in the natural. Many people allow fear, doubt, or uncertainty to dictate their decisions, slowing their progress and keeping them trapped in cycles of hesitation. But fearless faith breaks these chains. It is not reckless optimism or wishful thinking. It is a spiritual posture that trusts in divine power over human limitations. When morning prayer is fueled by fearless faith, it becomes a weapon, a declaration, and a strategic advance into every day. Fearless faith begins with belief in the unseen. The natural eye sees obstacles, delays, and opposition, but the spiritually faithful see possibilities, solutions, and divine intervention. It is the ability to step into a new day without being intimidated by yesterday's failures or today's challenges. This kind of faith does not ignore reality. It faces reality armed with divine authority. It recognizes that limitations are temporary and breakthroughs are permanent. Those who pray with fearless faith are not moved by threats, pressures, or discouragement, because they have anchored their hope in something greater than circumstances. Faith becomes fearless when it is practiced consistently. Many people claim to have faith, but their trust falters at the first sign of difficulty. Fearless faith grows when it is exercised repeatedly, especially in challenging seasons. Every act of trust, every bold declaration, every moment of surrender strengthens the spirit. Morning prayers are the perfect time to exercise this faith because they set the tone for the day. When you start your day trusting God's guidance and protection, you move forward with clarity, boldness, and resilience. Fear becomes less influential because your spirit is strengthened before the pressures of the day hit. Fearless faith also requires courage to act despite uncertainty. It is not enough to simply believe. Belief must be accompanied by decisive action. The faithful do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They step forward, knowing that God is already moving on their behalf. Morning prayers prepare the heart and mind to take these steps. They instill confidence, align your spirit with divine wisdom, and provide a sense of assurance that moves hesitation aside. Faith without action remains dormant, but fearless faith propels you into victory. Another aspect of fearless faith is persistence. Obstacles, opposition, and delays are inevitable. Life is full of situations that test patience, endurance, and commitment. Fearless faith does not crumble under pressure. It endures, perseveres, and persists. It recognizes that breakthrough often comes after seasons of challenge and that every delay has a purpose in the divine plan. Morning prayer is the training ground for this persistence. It strengthens the spirit, fortifies the heart, and sharpens focus so that when challenges arise, your faith does not waver. You are equipped to face difficulties head on with confidence and resilience. Fearless faith also transforms perspective. When you approach life with unwavering trust, your outlook changes. Problems become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and delays become preparation. Your focus shifts from fear to expectation, from doubt to hope, from limitation to possibility. This shift is crucial because the mind and spirit work together. When your faith is strong, your thoughts are disciplined, your decisions are clearer, and your actions are more intentional. Morning prayers are the moments when this transformation begins, aligning your heart and mind with God's perspective. Faith is strengthened through declaration. Speaking your faith aloud reinforces belief. When you pray with fearless confidence, you declare victory before it is visible. You speak life over situations that appear dead. You command change in circumstances that seem fixed. This declaration is not wishful thinking, it is the exercise of spiritual authority. Fearless faith is active, not passive. It does not wait quietly for miracles. It commands outcomes aligned with divine will. Morning prayers give you the platform to make these declarations consistently, shaping your day, your choices, and your influence. Fearless faith also inspires those around you. People are drawn to confidence, hope, and courage. When you embody faith that is unshakable, you become a source of strength for others. Your life testifies that fear does not have to control decisions, that boldness produces results, and that trust in divine power is a force that can move mountains. Morning prayers are not just personal, they influence your environment, your relationships, and your community. Your faith becomes a channel of encouragement, courage, and inspiration. In the end, fearless faith is the backbone of spiritual victory. It allows you to face uncertainty without hesitation, act with conviction despite opposition, and trust in divine timing without anxiety. Morning prayer is the discipline that nurtures this faith, strengthens it, and equips you to walk confidently into every day. It is through fearless faith that obstacles are overcome, breakthroughs are secured, and destiny is fulfilled. Those who pray with this faith rise above fear, walk in boldness, and live empowered lives, demonstrating that fear is not a master but a challenge to be conquered through unwavering trust, persistent action, and divine alignment.